Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Darian if you're new, and if you didn't know, I wrote my first draft of my first novel back in November as part of NaNoWriMo in 2021, and I am basically just really inspired to share my writing journey. It is something that I've always wanted to do, writing a novel and that sort of thing, and I've always wanted to be a writer. I feel like everybody who does these videos say it. So this is going to be just like a really casual, chill vlog, all themed around writing, my writing process, and that sort of thing. And I'm basically just going to document these over however long it takes to get published, and whether that's traditional publishing, which I hope to pursue, or potentially self-publishing, which I'm kind of like leaning towards right now for reasons. Anyways, I got a lot of motivation to complete my novel through sharing the process on my Instagram, because I had so many people reach out to me and just say how inspired they were to see that I was still making time to do something that I wanted to do so much, even though I am a mom of two. So yeah, that's basically motivation for you, motivation for me. We all win. That's basically what this video is gonna be. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe, and share it with anybody you think might like it. Today's focus is going to be brainstorming, because I need to take a break from my other manuscript and I want to work on a new idea. I actually have two ideas right now that I'm like really interested in. Okay, technically there's three ideas that I'm really interested in, but there's two that I'm super interested in currently brainstorming. The first is Kiki's Delivery Service meets Good Witch, but it's a middle grade YA book. And the other one I don't really know a lot about. I'm thinking like biological dystopian thriller centered around death and grief. So two very different stories. But I got some good advice from my critique partner that was like, just make it like a mood writing experiment where you just work on, you know, whichever one you're in the mood to work on. I am in the mood to brainstorm for the Kiki's Delivery Service project. I've got my notebook and a pen. So anytime I get a new idea for a project, I have a notebook in my Notion, which you should be hopefully seeing right now. But I have a Notion notebook where I literally just dump a list of whatever the idea is, and I make that page and that sort of thing. And then once I have that, I make a work in progress section where I can keep all of the information for that story. So you can see that I have inspo here is Kiki's Delivery Service, Good Witch, and Ghosts. And then over here, I have like sections for snippets. So like anything that comes to my brain that's like dialogue. Oh, well, not dialogue. I have my own dialogue section, but snippets for like, you know, prose or just anything like that, ideas. And then iPhone notes if I just quickly need to take a note and I don't feel like waiting for Notion to load or find my Notion app on my phone. I can just dump all of those notes into there, and then yeah, that's pretty much it. I have places for character notes and world building, which I don't really use yet, and then this is like the outline section. These are just basically what I did was I just sat down one day and I wrote down a list of any idea for a scene. So this is really helpful. This was the first time that I've done this. I literally I wanted to write down a list of 8. So that was my number I actually ended up with 12. So I knew there were 12 scenes that I wanted to have in this, and then I can go from there with the outlining. So we are still in the brainstorming process, which means that I don't have a plot. I have a vague idea of what the plot is going to be. So that's part of the reason why we're gonna watch the movie and get some more inspiration, which is what we're gonna do right now. I'm going to go put on Kiki's delivery service and take notes. So I'm about an hour into the movie. Yeah, an hour into the movie, and I have got... You're enjoying the movie too? Okay. I have some notes that I took in my notebook, and I was also able to kind of write like a little blurb that came to me while I was watching. So I'm going to hopefully get through the second half of this movie and then check back in with you guys on what I plan on doing next. Why am I supposed to do that? Okay, so I didn't actually end up watching the whole thing because I have 2 kids and trying to watch a movie is a lot, but I did take some really good notes, which I think is a great place to start on top of the scenes that I did. So I didn't really explain the scene thing earlier, but what you're gonna do is whenever you get an idea, before you do anything else, like before you start plotting or anything really serious, basically take that idea and write a list of scenes. I started with 8 because I just felt like that was a good round number, but you can start with less or more. But you're gonna write a list of scenes that you can envision being in a movie or a novel that is your idea. So I did that, and I came up with a few things like, you know, the main character meets a new friend, and I wanted there to be like a Halloween harvest festival where the main character gets to dress up as a witch because she is a witch and it's supposed to be funny. And that sort of thing. So that's basically the idea behind the scene brainstorming for that. And the reason why I like doing that before I do anything else is because that lets me know whether or not the idea is worth pursuing as like a novel idea. If there's enough there of substance that I can make into an outline with, you know, like the 3-act structure and that sort of thing, which is a whole other topic. That's not what we're talking about today, because I'm still learning that. But if we go through this process together, you'll see my process for that too. So I have a couple notes, and I figured that I would just share a few of the things that like popped into my mind as I was watching the beginning. I watched about the first 40 minutes to an hour. So these are the things that kind of stood out to me that I would like to include in my story for, you know, the Kiki's Delivery Service vibes. The first thing is to show the main character in her normal life, which if you read any type of plotting books, they usually say to start by showing your character in their normal everyday life. Typically you want to show them with like their work relationships, their friends, and at home. So like I think it's like at work, at home, and at play if you're using Save the Cat Writes novel. So I wrote down that, and then I said I would like to show her visiting her sister who is running a shop or whatever it is, and trying to help her learning. She is a witchling in training, so I would like to showcase that. Training and learning outside of a traditional school environment. I could also introduce her through school, like a normal school setting. So I'm taking notes as I'm writing because this is still brainstorming, guys. And I also want to introduce a side character who is going to be her cat, because you can't have like a feel-good witchy middle grade without a cat. So got the note there to introduce the cat in some way. And then a theme that popped up through Kiki's delivery service, because I am envisioning this as a middle grade, which I have not written before or read a lot of, so I will be needing to do some reading for research. But rushing to grow up, this idea that we want to grow up quickly and kind of like wish our adolescence, our childhood away. So I made a note of that. I made a note to show that the main character is still young, even though she may act mature in some cases, or is trying to assert that she is growing up and is able to take on more responsibility. One of the things that I really, really liked from this brainstorming session was the idea of giving the main character some sort of like quirk. I think this is the easiest way to have readers remember a character. If you've read the Shadow and Bone series, I can't even think of her name now. Oh my gosh. Leigh Bardugo does a really, really good job with this, because she mentions certain things about characters, and every time she mentions that character, she mentions that thing. So for example, definitely had to look up her name because I forgot it, but Leigh Bardugo does this especially well with Genya, where she always mentions that Genya is beautiful. And so you know that before you know anything else about her. And like with Kiki's delivery service, Kiki has her dad's radio, and not only is it a nice like tie-in to the life that she has left behind, and this idea that like maybe we don't want to leave our past behind, or like our whole lives behind, that sort of thing. Like she's still trying to hold on a little bit to her parents. I really liked that she had that little quirk, and it made me realize that I should give my character a little bit of a quirk. I know a couple of things about her, like I envision her with Converse and maybe like a little black skirt and maybe space buns, that sort of thing. But giving her like a quirk, maybe, I mean, I guess the space buns, if that's how she wears her hair all the time, could be a quirk in itself. But anyways, I liked the idea of exploring, giving her a quirk. And then the other idea that came up while I was watching was the idea of skills, or like, how do I want to say this? Specialties. So for example, Kiki meets the witchling in the sky who is a fortune teller, and she asks her what her skill is, and Kiki is like, well, what is my skill? Like, what am I good at? Because that's part of, like growing up, is like finding what you're good at and that sort of thing. So I really liked the idea of exploring like what skills we love, even though they might not be like our specialty, or like inherently what we should be doing with our lives, and the expectations of society versus like what we want to do and that sort of thing. So a lot to explore there, which I thought was really good. And then also how to introduce side characters, because the exchange where Kiki meets the boy in the movie, whose name I cannot remember and I'm not gonna look up right now, is really cute, because he actually like saves her from the police officer. So just like a fun, memorable way to introduce the side character is something else that I thought about. And then another overarching theme idea is that the main character wants responsibility, but she isn't the main character wants the responsibility, but it isn't until she's struggling with all of that responsibility being placed on her shoulders that she realizes that she does actually still need to ask for help, and that even adults have to ask for help sometimes, and that, you know, we are not meant to do everything on our own, and that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not grow up so fast, etc., etc. So that was my brainstorming session just from watching about an hour of the movie, which I think is pretty productive. And so now my favorite part of brainstorming involves one of my favorite social media platforms, and that is Pinterest. If you are a writer and don't use Pinterest for your writing, it is the holy grail of inspiration for writers, in my opinion. So I'm going to take you through what my board looks like for this idea right now, and then we'll see what we have at the end to wrap up. So I actually think I'm going to go ahead and end this video here because it's already pretty long, and yeah, if I add the Pinterest part in, it's going to be over 20 minutes. So if you want to see like the Pinterest part of my brainstorming, let me know. Maybe I'll do that as a bonus video. And if there's any questions you have about the writing process, any videos you want to see that are writing related, let me know that too. I'm excited to take you on the journey of this book because I think it's a really cute concept and I'm excited to write it. So stay tuned for more writing vlogs to come in the future for my Kiki's Delivery Service meets Good Witch vibes middle grade, and I'll see you next time. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you would. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, I'm happy you're here. Hope you're having a great week. I'll see you on Sunday.